We are live.
Hey guys, Marcia from Be So Creative here with you. Happy Tuesday. I don't know about y'all, but can you believe that we are already in September and that we've had Labor Day, and September is moving forward rapidly. So today we have a very special guest with us, and that is our dear Sharon, and she is going to be the one that is going to be giving you your tips and tricks for our Tuesday at 2. So if you will listen closely, Sharon's got some great tips for us. So Miss Sharon, take it away.
All right, thank you, Marcia. So Marcia kind of talked me into this, so bear with me. But some of you ladies have taken my embroidery class, and usually, if you remember, I always start the class off at the very beginning with what I call my 5 golden rules. So today is what I want to go over, because we have, over the last few months, we've had several new Bernina owners as well as Baby Lock owners. And I think these little golden rules apply to both machines, some in different ways, but they can be applied to any machine basically. So let's get started with the very first one. When you're getting ready to put your machine down on a table, this was really important when you were coming to class because you were bringing the machines back and forth. But what we insist on is that you make sure that your machine is set on a very flat surface and no cracks. You can see here in this table, if we were to put this here, we would have you move it away from the crack, because you want your machine to be on a very steady surface with no cracks. And the reason why is your machine can get uneven, then your stitching won't be even either. So that's my first number 1 rule. And in our classroom, if you come, when we get back to having classes in the classroom, you're going to put your machine on one table. You can't share it with 2 people. You got to be on that one table itself. Then the second rule is that your machine must be off when you get ready to attach your embroidery unit. Now this does apply to both Baby Lock and to Bernina machine owners. So you're going to make sure that the machine is off, and then you're going to insert your embroidery unit and make sure it clicks and is good and steady before you get ready to turn it on. Now notice one other thing here. This goes along with rule number 1. Your embroidery unit has to be on the same table as well. It can't be on 2 tables. And the reason is, if your embroidery unit is crooked and your machine is crooked, your machine embroidery is just not going to be pretty at all, okay? Now, one other rule that I have is that you make sure that you say, oh, well, I have it on one table, but I want it forward or I want it backwards more. You do not move your machine with the embroidery attached. You always want to take the embroidery unit back off before you move them both, and then you reset them the way you want. So that is very important, because your embroidery unit has connections to the machine, and if these get bent, you're going to be coming to see Izzy, because you're not going to be able to do any kind of embroidery at this point, okay? So now, another one of my golden rules is that this part of your embroidery unit should not be hanging over the edge of your table. And I don't have a chair, but I think maybe Marcia can show you. Have a seat, Marcia, there. And if you were sitting in front of your embroidery unit,
And look, we have one here. Let me turn this around.
and you decide to get up out of your chair to go put the dog outside or go answer the phone, what do? Most of us swing that chair around and it hits the embroidery unit. And guess what? You're going to have to start over on whatever you're embroidering.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that your embroidery unit, that arm, is far enough back that you're not going to hit it with your chair. So that is very important there too. And just keep in mind when you're doing embroidery, it's not like you're sewing where you have to have your hands up in here to hold the fabric and feed it through and all that. You're kind of sitting back with the hoop and watching it, so you don't worry about, you can sit back further from the embroidery itself. Now, we're going to turn this back on, and remember, you want to make sure that your embroidery unit's hooked up first before you turn this on. One of my last rules, well, I've got two more, is that I like to say that the embroidery unit needs to do its little dance before you put the hoop on. So as this comes up here, we're going to bring up an embroidery design here. And we'll bring up a design here. And then we're going to tell it, hey, I want to stitch. First of all, on the Bernina machines, you're going to see it's telling you, lift the hoop up if you've got it on there. It's a warning to you not to put your hoop on until it does what I call its dance. And by a dance, I was telling Becky earlier, if you have dogs and you tell them, hey, let's go for a walk or let's go for a ride, what do the dogs do? They bounce up and down and they dance for you. Well, that's what this machine's going to do as well. So we're going to click this little check mark, and you see how the embroidery unit is doing its thing. It is now ready for you to put the hoop on. Okay? Now, my next golden rule is, and I didn't bring one, but there's a lot of people that say I just don't know what I'm talking about on this next rule. But when you look at your sewing machine, what's inside of here? It's a computer. It's just like any other computer that you would have. And if you put a USB stick in there with a design, you can, what do you do on a computer? You can put your USB stick into your computer and it works fine. But when you get ready to remove that stick out of there, what do? You go and you physically eject it from your computer. Well, our sewing machines don't have that capability, so what do we need to do? We need to turn off the sewing machine before we remove the stick.
You want it off?
Yeah. So the controversy behind this is that you will hear from some of the experts with the sewing machines that, oh no, you don't need to worry about your stick. But let me tell you, because of my computer background, that let's be safe than sorry. You don't want to wipe out your USB stick just because you've pulled it out and then you've lost your design. Because remember, you can save designs that you've created on your sewing machine onto your USB stick. And if you have not properly ejected that stick, you're going to lose all that work that you've done on the sewing machine. So that's been it in a nutshell. So I hope you guys have learned something. And those of you ladies who have had my class, this is kind of a reminder of what you need to do when you turn on your machines and get them ready to go. And now I'm going to turn the floor back over to Marcia because she's got some really wonderful news for everybody.
Well,